Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, good morning.
Let's give thanks. Can we please all stand for the singing of our opening song? Lift every voice and sing as we honor Black History Month and just the beautiful legacy of our culture, Black futures as well.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, better the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk from the wine of the world, we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand. May we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Good morning and happy Sunday. Let's thank our wonderful musicians, Kev Choice and Kate Lamont. I'm Cheryl Archer, your host for today. We respectfully acknowledge that here in the Bay Area, we gather on the traditional land of the indigenous Ohlone people. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded these lands for countless generations. And welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all of life. And a special welcome to those of you joining us for the very first time. We're glad you're here in the sanctuary with us. Please raise your hand, and one of our ushers will bring you a welcome packet. Also, a big welcome to everyone who is joining us on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter so you can learn about all the fun things we have to offer here at the center. As a reminder, if you're experiencing cold, flu, or COVID symptoms, please tune in on YouTube or Facebook Live instead of coming to service in person. Thank you for signing in before service and wearing masks covering your nose and mouth while indoors. We appreciate every effort to keep us all safe and healthy. Now let's take a moment to bless our children wherever they are. We bless all our children in our community and the world. We love you, we see you, we know the truth about who you are. You are unique expressions of God, and we are grateful to have you in our lives, and so it is. Celebrate Black History Month with our very own wonderful speakers. Next Wednesday, February 22nd, Practitioner Emeritus Carmen West Jefferson will continue the discussion of The World is an Oyster. Meditation is at 6:30 p.m. and the service is at 7 by Zoom. Remember to pick up your daily readings for the season of nonviolence at the sign-in table. We have several volunteer co-leadership opportunities available. Volunteer coordinator, membership coordinator, and social media coordinator. Please contact Reverend Sunshine Michelle at revsunshine@oaklandcsl.org for more information. Please fill the barrel for our nonprofit partner for February, Abundant Blessings. For Black History Month, the Diversity Circle is hosting a book discussion on The Four Pivots by Dr. Sean Wainwright. The discussion will be February 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. and is facilitated by Practitioner Emeritus Carmen West Jefferson and congregants Deborah Jackson and Crystal Fry. You can purchase the book at the bookstore. There's a 30% off sale. The sale continues with a new focus. Check out the new books celebrating Black history. Also, celebrate Valentine's Day by finding books referencing love or with hearts on the cover, and all heart merchandise. For details on all upcoming events, workshops, and classes, please go to the Thursday Village News, oaklandcsl.org, and/or reference the rotating slideshow before and after service. And check out our website. And don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates and content you'll only find by liking and subscribing to OCSL. Please stand and read along with me. Oh, I'm sorry. You can sit. I skipped a paragraph, forgive me. It's not a normal paragraph, but it is very important. Before we read the mission and vision statement, we have a special announcement about our Board of Trustees slate of candidates from Erin Gaffey, who's on the nominating committee.
Good morning. I am Erin Gaffey, and as a board nominating committee representative, it is my pleasure to introduce the board candidates to you. Sally Bartholomew, Deborah Jackson, Sam Ledion, Elka Moritz, and Beth Van Arkel. Each of our board candidates' bios can be found in the Village News, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living's weekly newsletter. Thank you.
You have to forgive my autopilot. Now, may you stand. And let's read along our vision and mission statement. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play.
Good morning. My name is Constance Chapman, and I'm a licensed practitioner here at the center. I have two readings for us. The first one is from Dr. Daniel Lee Morgan. To be awake is to be aware of God as being all, in which everything exists, and from which everything exists, and from which everything originates. This means that to the degree we understand the unity and the wholeness of God, we not only see God in everything, but we see God, everything as being in God. And the second reading is from Dr. Martin Luther King. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So just taking a breath and doing whatever works best for you to take in a prayer and to be in prayer. Because we see everything as being in God. Everything is in God. Everything is God. We know that there is only the one energy, the one source, the one divine heart, the one divine mind. And that energy and that source is everywhere present. There is not a place where it is not. And that means that it's right here where I am, that is who and what my life is, and that means that it is your life. It is, that energy is who and what you are in form. And so I just speak my word today, knowing that this service is divinely appointed. It's divinely orchestrated. It's divinely blessed. And I know that everyone who is listening to this, either on live stream or in the sanctuary, is exactly in the right place at the right time to take in exactly what they need to hear. And that those words are coming in the divine, from the divine energy of our senior minister, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman. That as she stands up here, she allows God to work through her, and work as her. So that the word that we are getting from her is coming from that one source. It is that one source. And so how very grateful I am for knowing this truth. How very grateful I am for knowing the truth of that one energy, that one God, that one source. And so if this resonates with you, please join me in saying, and so it is.
When your shoulders have borne more than they can stand, and it seems you've been walking in a land unknown, go to God in a place beyond your fear. God is loving you. Be still. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. When your shoulders have borne more than you can stand, and it seems you've been walking in a land unknown, go to God in a place beyond your fears. God is loving you. Be still. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. Stand on the rock of those who've gone before you, and those who hold you high in glory, and those who hold you close in prayer. Stand on the truth. God is the power. God is the way. God is the answer. Accept what has been given. It's the reason why we pray. And the things that have held us back will disappear, and the veil of tears won't be heavy anymore. A life so torn apart will heal again. Trust in God, I know you will. Stand on the truth. God is the power. God is the way. God is the answer. Accept what has been given. It's the reason why we pray. And the things that have held us back will disappear, and the veil of tears won't be heavy anymore. A life so torn apart will heal again. Trust in God, I know you will. Accept this prayer of love in your heart. Ooh.
I've been waiting on you, Kate, to come back. I was so delighted to hear you before and to meet you and to know you. And Kev, thank you, brother, always. Kev Choice and Kate Lamont. You want to know what I heard this morning in meditation? Yes. I only heard one yes. Y'all don't want to hear? Come on, you know I like to. Here's what I heard, and if you feel moved, I'd like for you to repeat after me. Let me say it first. But first, let's take a breath to go into that place, because what I heard was deep. I heard, I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Whether I'm black, whether I'm brown, whether I'm white, whether I'm red, whether I'm yellow, whether I'm a rainbow, I am somebody. Whether I come from privilege or whether I come from poverty, wherever I am, however I am, I am somebody. I am somebody. That was the Reverend Jesse Jackson in 1971 with the Push Excel program, where he was inspiring and motivating black children. So when I heard I am somebody 3 times and knew I was going to bring it to you today, I needed to go look it up to see if it was in a speech or something. And I saw this 71-second clip where he was doing what they call this free verse poem. And he even did it on Sesame Street for the children. I love it. It's about listening and following through. So happy Black History Month 365. I'm glad to be here as the first woman of color, the first person of color of African descent to be a senior minister in this here house of almost 80 years. I'm proud. And so as we talk about our topic today, the world is an oyster, I love these talks because it always takes me to look something up and to research it and to get a little deeper in it. And in the dictionary, on dictionary.com, is a definition that says the world is an oyster. We know it as a sea creature, the oyster. Believe that, it's in the dictionary. And perhaps that's where the saying comes from, because pearls, as we know, come from not just any oyster, but a pearl oyster. I learned something. Pearl oysters, there's a variety of them, are the ones that produce this gem of a pearl. And it does so by covering a minute invasive object, this is what it said on Wikipedia, with a substance called nacre, which is mother of pearl. And over the years, this irritating object is covered with enough layers of nacre to become the pearl, is the way it works. And the many different types and colors and shapes of the pearls depends on the pigment of the nacre and the shape of the original irritant. Isn't nature amazing? Now, apparently it's not a short process because it takes 3 to 7 years for this process to happen within a pearl oyster. And there's a lot that goes on in this process that I liken to birth and to gestation of anything. So we're going to unpack that just a little bit here. Because with birth of any kind, I'm going to call it birth, there's darkness. There's processing. There's laws of nature that act upon this thing to help it to grow and to shape into whatever it is. Whether it's a seedling, whether it's a fetus, whatever it is. There's scientific, there's mental, there's spiritual, there's emotional, and I'm sure so many other things that go into the process of birth. You know that. It's nature's magic. It's a combination and a combustion of a whole lot of stuff, this creative process of the divine, this gestation that has to happen over this course in time to yield the treasure. There's also pain and there's frustration in this process. There's anguish and there's discomfort. But it yields the beauty and the joy and the miracle of life. It's worth it to go through it. But when we're going through it, we may not feel like it's worth it. Because we don't like pain. We don't like discomfort. Yes, I'm talking about the cosmic we. Well, the same thing happens in chaos theory. And in raw creation, divine source that Constance prayed about in the prayer. Because what happens is when you go Google and look it up, you'll see some beautiful imagery of what chaos looks like. And it's beautiful. It's colorful. All of this is the miracle of God that comes from what seems like is a mess and yields a treasure. So that's how I'm breaking this down today. And as I was preparing for this talk, I thought of concentric circles. You know, it's a circle, and then it's a circle, and then it's a circle. That's what concentric circles are. So if you look at the inner circle or the outer circle, however you want to look at that, there's the individual, there's the community, and then there's the world. You know how that goes, zooms in, zooms out, the macro, the micro? What if each of us and our communities and the world at large can produce, and we do, beautiful gemstones like a pearl simply by allowing, get me now, by allowing the things that are irritants to help craft something of value? What if? And it does happen, but we don't always appreciate it. We don't always surrender to it. And as a matter of fact, we humans often resist it. But what if we knew it within? What if the divine knower, I love this, saying this, the knower, if we allow the knower within that knows what it knows, if we rest on that, we'd be more assured about this process And when it's irritating and when it's that irritant is happening, then we could surrender a little bit better because we know what we know what we know. And some of us already do this. We do it. I'm calling you deeper into it. Doesn't matter how long you've been in this philosophy or in spiritual philosophy. It could be your very first day. You might not have heard anything or thought about anything I'm saying, but I guarantee you it's true for you. Just like it is for someone like me who's been, many of you that I know, who've been in this philosophy for decades. The philosophy is called the science of mind. So what if we surrendered into this process? What would it take for us to be that consciousness as a co-creator of something miraculous? How can we be a partner with God? How can we be a better partner with God? It probably takes maybe what? Some patience, maybe a little trust, perhaps some faith, some awareness, some knowledge, some intuition, maybe some willingness, certainly that. To shift or change what would be needed, what else might it take? When I point, it's your turn. What? I heard somebody say something. Love? Right. Anything else? Clarity. Courage. Support. Nourishment. Trust. Prayer. Right? Belief. Intention. Love it. Some of us already know this, but it doesn't hurt to be reminded, does it? You better believe somebody needs this today. I trust Spirit. I wouldn't be saying this unless I didn't trust Spirit, and I know that it knows who needs to hear it, and therefore they're listening. You're listening. So, in order to culture, they call it, to culture a pearl from inside the oyster, the farmer has to, get this, pry open the hinges of the hard outer shell in order to reveal the treasure. Open the shell, and once it's opened, inside of it, have you ever seen the inside of an oyster? It's beautiful too. Not only the pearl, the shell. It's God. Aren't we humans like that? In order to discover the buried treasure that's within us, we have to be willing to crack open the outer shell to reveal the goodness and the greatness of God inside. What I know is this word is going before you to prepare the way for those times that you forget that you knew what I just said, that you believed what I just said. This is going to come rushing back to you. That's why I'm saying it. It's going to come rushing back to me. It's like, oh yeah, oh, I remember. Oh yes, let me get back on point, because I believe every single moment you can start again. Yes. Every moment. That means every single moment you need to forgive yourself, perhaps, for having forgotten or strayed away. Don't berate yourself. Just start over. Just do it. It's a Nike moment. And we not only have to be willing to allow the natural gestation process of this birthing thing that I'm talking about, we also need to know how to uncover the abundance and the inner beauty that's inside, but sometimes we don't know how. Here's what I believe: we don't have to. I just said we need to know how. And I just said we don't have to. What's she talking about? That sounds in conflict, huh? It's not. Life is not linear. I believe that all we need to know is the what. The how we leave up to God. But we have to know and be open to that there is a how. and not give up and think that it's hopeless. Just because you don't know doesn't mean it's not known. Step out of your own way and tap into the divine knowingness. We also have to recognize, and by the way, we do that through our spiritual practices. That's how we come into contact with that. So we also need to be able to recognize that the gem that it is. It's a gemstone. But some gemstones don't look like it. There's a thing called a diamond. You ever heard of that? Yes. I'm being silly. You're supposed to be silly with me, okay? There's something called a diamond that I'm told, I've never done it, but I believe it, that is mined. But when you first mine it, it's dull and listless until you cut it properly and you shine it up and polish it, and that baby can sparkle. That's what we are inside, is a gem. So what if we choose, be with me here, to see the trials and tribulations within ourselves, our communities, and the world differently? What if we shift our thinking? And what if we begin thinking and knowing that there is a pearl or a diamond inside? Knowing that we have to unhinge and sometimes pry it open to get that secret treasure inside, or go cut it and polish it and polish it up. Don't cast it away. Instead, have conscious awareness. If we believe in oneness and that everything is God, just because it may not look like it shines doesn't mean it's not a gem. We have to have appreciation and gratitude. We don't have to, you know what I say. It's choice. And you can be as miserable as you want to, but I don't choose that. I'm going to start over and over and over. And if I'm trying it, I want you to try it because we're in the same community together. And when I get somewhere, you're getting somewhere. When you get somewhere, I'm getting somewhere because we're in community. That's where I come from. So stick with me here. What if the civil rights movement, or any other movement for that matter, what if it's in a gestation process, even though sometimes it feels like it's been so long, and have we come anywhere? But stay with me. What if we look at it as this gestation process that is helping to uncover and reveal the true brilliant treasure of justice, equity, and freedom? Yes. 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 What if? Dr. King had to believe that. Malcolm X had to believe that. Jesse Jackson had to believe that when he was standing up there telling the kids, I am somebody. Yes. We have to choose how we think about something. We have choice. You can change your own mind. I can change my mind. I wrote an article that's in my first book called The Answer Without the Question. Here's the thing, the answer exists. Just like God exists, our abundance exists. Everything that is good in God and grand and glorious exists. But that answer, without the question, doesn't connect it. We need to have the inquiry. We need to have the willingness. We need to have the openness. We need to have the intention, somebody said over here, to draw that answer, to reveal that answer, or else it's just simply there. We have to broaden our consciousness in order to behold the answer that it is. It might be an answer we don't understand. That doesn't mean it's not the answer. We simply have to open ourselves to the knowledge to help understand what that answer is and what it has for us. The answer is always there. We have to ask the question. In order to get that pearl, get that diamond, be able to mine it, to appreciate it, to love it, to know it, so that there's more. It's a parable, but it's a parable and an analogy I'm giving for deeper and richer living. So if the world is an oyster, then perhaps we should go look for the pearl within. Let's go look. This may mean that we have to take some action. So I'm told that the diversity group here that's been studying caste, what did they do? The other night, a group of 8 of them went over to see the author, Isabel Wilkinson, together. That's taking action. That just came to me, by the way, Carmen. I see you out there. I didn't plan to say that, but God did. 12. They're not only choosing a book, no, back up. They're choosing to come together on a diversity, to talk about diversity. They picked a book, they read the book each individually, then they came together to have a discussion, and then they went further and they went to see the author so that it could enliven and enrich their conversation. Take action. It may mean that in order to find this pearl in there, you know, it's in there somewhere. Come on now, it's in there. We may have to evoke some more patience to allow the full gestation process to go to full fruition. Because we want it now. Now. I'm impatient, I want it now. And then what happens if it's not coming now? The first thing we want to do is doubt our prayers. Or that it works. Or something, make up a meaning. Don't do that. Just steepen in the patience, in the spiritual practice. Partner with others, like I gave the example. Whatever it is that helps you to stay connected and know that the pearl is in there. That's what that reading that Constance read about from Dr. Dan, that was from Guidance to Richer Living. What is it called, Dodie? Spiritual. Or a spiritual, okay. The Daily Reader, Dr. Dan. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's in the bookstore. It said, we not only see God in everything, but we see everything as being in God. That means it's the oyster, it's the pearl, it's the process, it's all of it. All of it. Thank you, Alice. And what did Dr. King say in the other statement? He talked about moving. We're embracing all kind of movement. If you can't run, then slow down and walk, or whatever it is you need to do. If you can't walk, then crawl, but whatever it is, you need to just keep moving, because that signifies to the universe that I believe you, that I appreciate you. I appreciate the fact that I can crawl. I may not be able to walk, but I give such high honor and gratitude that I can crawl, that I can lift a finger, or whatever it is that I can think and move toward. Whatever it is. So just a couple sweet and savory moments. Now see, so I've enhanced it a little bit. So, you know, it used to be that it was just some nuggets to be shared in the midst of a sermon, even if it didn't have anything to do with the talk, but I've added something. That it could also be something juicy that builds upon a treasure that I've discovered. Okay, so here's a couple of them. I was talking to our beloved, you can go to the next slide if you want. Here's just a couple of them I'm going to talk through. Our beloved Paul Prosciutti. I was checking on him last week on the phone with him, and he told me he's been watching. So Paul, hey baby, how you doing? We love you. I know he's going to be watching this. He told me he watches it every week. And so he was also telling me he loved what I was saying, and we got on this, love fest. And then he said, okay, so here's something for your savory moments. He may not have said that first, but he said what he was reacting to something I was saying in the moment and something I've said on the pulpit. And he said, I know this might show up in your savory moments. I don't know what he said, but he said, don't get hung up on your hang-ups. Oh, I know what it was. I was talking about giving because I was talking about tithing, and some of you may remember that conversation. It's like, you know, you can feel however you feel about something, but don't get hung up on it. Because being hung up on it is going to stagnate you. It's going to stop you from getting to your goal. That's in here with the world as an oyster. So don't just catch yourself. And how it relates to this talk, let me see what I said. I put it down for you. Let me see. Oh, I'm glad I looked. Because don't get hung up on your hang-ups relates to this talk. If we focus on the irritant, remember we're talking about the process of the pearl. If we focus on the irritant and the grit, we may miss the fact that there's a pearl in there that's in the making within us. So don't get hung up on stuff. The next one came from Wednesday night service a couple weeks ago where Dodie Cheney Fernandez and Deborah Jackson did an awesome job, and Dodie said something like, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know if you said it exactly like this. You don't even know I'm going to say this, so I'm glad you're in the audience. It was something like, whatever the topic was, Dodie said, we're streaming God. Streaming as in live streaming? We're streaming God. And we're not waiting on God. God is waiting on us. I thought that was so juicy. Here's how it relates to this talk. If we choose, we can tune in to the channel of God's frequency and always get the best live streaming and programming possible. If we choose, because we have to turn the dial and get in there, right? Also, it's up to us to behold the beauty in everything because God already knows its own beauty and our beauty. It's us sometimes that don't know it. So let's tune into that. Here's the next one. Rev. Deb Hammond, an RSCP practitioner, spoke last week at Wednesday service. It was great. Inquiring minds want to flow. And she said something like, when you know, you flow. Love it. So it's relative to this talk because it means that if we tap into the all-knowing presence of the infinite within us, that we know, like I said earlier, the knower within you knows. I love that saying, that we know that we know that we know. And with that knowingness, we're therefore always in the divine flow of life. Is that right, Aaron? That's right. Okay. So it brings me to the last sweet and savory moment, because I always think about it, and it wasn't until I read the one that I just read, when you know you flow, that I thought of this saying that back in the 80s, our beloved Dr. Margaret Storch used to always say that I've never forgotten and I always use is, once you know, you can never not know again. Now, what does that mean? So relative to this talk about the world as an oyster, it simply means that once the divine knowing is revealed and discovered within us, it's always there. You know what? You can ignore it, you can deny it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. It's by your choice that you're not acknowledging it, because once you have that awakening, it's there. It's waiting for you. I always try to give you something that you can take into your week. Take this with you. Even if you know every single thing I was talking about, take it in a new way. Let it work you. That's what Constance said in that prayer. And then as soon as it was said, I was like, oh gosh. Because it was something like, God works her. I was like, whoo. You know, sometimes when God works us, it can be exhausting. But it's sweet and juicy after that once you catch your breath. You get in the good groove when God works you. Don't you, Kev? When you're playing up there and you know you're working out and it's like, woo! Exhilarated. So with that, beloveds, let us take this into prayer And I invite our ministers and our licensed practitioners to stand and surround the congregation. Those ministers and practitioners online, please stand where you are. The prayer box is coming up by Dylan McClintock. Take a breath in consciousness, a breath that you know, that you know, that you know. Take that breath. Let that knower within know you, remind you of who you are in this divine presence that we are. This divine oneness, this divine wholeness, this divine allness in the holy presence, the Holy Spirit, Papa, Mama. I am the Holy One, whatever you call it. A matter of fact, just say out loud, those who can hear my voice, what do you call spirit? Say it out loud. Because we're saying in our hearts, we're saying out loud, we're calling it out, calling it in, calling it up. It is everywhere present. There's not a space, a spot where this divine presence is not present. It cannot be, because it is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. And we acknowledge it with love this day, with wholeness and with oneness, because we know that's what it is. It's love, it's joy, it's the clarity and the beauty and the knowledge and the trust and the faith and the humor and laughter. It's the joy and the knowingness deep within. It's all of that is infused in our very being. Whatever our being is, whether we're celestial, or whether we're human, or whether we're a four-legged, or a creepy crawler in the earth, or with fins, or with wings, or some other dimension like the atoms, and the molecules, and the droplets of water, and the galaxies. It's everywhere. Oh, what a joy and a blessing it is to behold this space of life, eternal. And so this very moment in this divine knowingness, we bless our nonprofit partners this month, Abundant Blessings, knowing that they are helping the houseless here, right here in Alameda County, that they are providing resources that we're able to support. They're providing love and caring and openness and whatever else that these beloveds need. We give thanks for them. And we bless Mother Gaia, Holy Mama. Thank you for your unconditional love always, for providing for us, for holding us, for lifting us, for allowing us to be here dwelling with you. We bless you in total restoration and healing. And we bless our youth wherever they may be, whatever ages that they are, that they may be abundantly provided for and loved, that they may be held and cared for as they grow and are nurtured in the ways that serve the holy presence within them. We bless those who are in service, whatever that might look like. It may be sacred seva, or it may be in the movements that are bringing about justice and equity and freedom and harmony and love for all in right relations in our world. And I bless those loved ones who are on our prayer list that we're holding in prayer. And I lift them up in this arms and in this consciousness of love and power that we hold right here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. In particular, I bless Zachary and Miranda Roberts and her family. I bless Antonia Griffin. I bless Firefly Olivia Walter and Christine Anderson. I bless our world that we do know works for everyone. We hold the conscious intention of that love and harmony that is happening in spite of what may appear to be war or homelessness, poverty, starvation, climate injustice, depletion. We know the opposite ends of the continuum because we know plenty and abundance in God. We know that there is healing that is happening right now for our world, and so we lift that up in every province, in every city, in every county, in every country, in every state, in our world, and in all places, all the universes, the multiverses of God. And we bless those who have made their transition to the other side, knowing that that other side is a direct experience of life. And so we bless our own beloved Don Hartzell and his family as he has transitioned, and give thanks. Don, Ancestor Don, thank you for all your service here at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Just as we bless and thank Bert Morgan for all of his beautiful years of service. He made 100 years young before he was called and moved to the other side. So we bless him and his family, knowing that truth and love hold Don and Bert both. And so in this vortex of love and prayer and knowingness of divine evocation of the goodness of God, I invite each one of us to call forth our own names and though out loud, and those people that you're praying for, call it out loud into this sacred space. Whatever it is, whether it's a person, place, or thing, there is nothing too large or too small in the heart of God to be healed and to be lifted into the power of this moment. Angelic beings, greater beings, I call on you in this prayer, knowing that you are with us. Our ancestors are with us, blessing this prayer in all those who are benefiting from it, for we all are. And giving thanks for this. Oh, I am so grateful. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to know this truth. I know it without any doubts. I know it in my heart. It is already complete right now. And so all I can do is lift it up into the arms of love and law, knowing it is activated and it is made so right here, right now, demonstrated, made manifest in ways that we can see and feel and touch and know and believe. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. We let it be. Declare it with me. And so it is. Praise God. Praise God. Ashe. Thank you, practitioners and ministers, for your consciousness. Now is our time for conscious and joyous giving with gratitude and with love. And so there are so many, I just want to acknowledge, there's so many places you could be today. And you chose to be here with us. Thank you. There's so many places you could give your gifts. And we invite you to give your gifts to us in the form of financial treasures. Some people may have it on auto give already. Some may want to give cash, checks, or whatever. You can prepare your offering. There are envelopes there in the seat pockets for you. We give thanks, whether it's you're here for the first time or whether you've been here many times. We give thanks for your gift, for it helps us to operate as a spiritual center. And it helps us to be in the flow of circulation and abundance. I'm so excited by that. So there are lots of ways for us to give in our conscious giving. We can, as I mentioned, there are pledge cards there. If you want to pledge, it's not too late to pledge for this year. You can put your offering in an envelope or not. You can go on our website at oaklandcsl.org. Those of you online, please click it so you remember to do it. You can donate, click donate. You can hit Zelle, text to give, and shortly I'll invite you to bring your offering up. But first, we're going to do our affirmation together. For those with the auto tithe, auto give, there's these that you can put over your heart because we bless our gifts. We bless and nurture them. So let us say our affirmation together. The gift I give in God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. And so it is. And so, for those of you who would like to come up and be in the circulation and the movement of giving, we have 2 baskets here while Kev plays some chords. And thank you so much in advance for your giving and for being here.
Don't give up. Stand and fight for what you know is right. And I know that it will be all right. Just you wait and see. Oh yeah. There'll be times where I know you'll have to sit and cry and ask the teacher what's the reason why all these things must be. Oh, if you won't give up, soon these dark clouds, they will pass you by. Like an eagle, you'll take wings and fly. If you just believe, I want you to see. Remember, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Oh, can you see that everything's gonna be alright? Can you sing that with me? Everything's gonna be alright. Do you believe it now? Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, just you wait and see. Oh, if you don't give up, stand and fight for what you know is right. And I know everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, it's promised, wait and see. Remember that through your sickness and pain, it'll be alright. Do you believe it? Through your sunshine and rain, it'll be alright. Stand up and sing. Through your sickness and pain, it'll be alright. Ooh, through the sunshine and rain, it'll be alright. Everything, sing it now. Everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, everything's gonna be alright. Everything gonna be everything gonna be alright. If you just wait and see, everything gonna be alright. Sing it again like you mean it. Everything's gonna be alright. Yes, it will. Everything's gonna be alright. In your heart and soul, everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, yeah. Everything's gonna be alright. Amen.
Isn't that been an amazing, amazing service so far today? And we just appreciate everyone who participated in the service today, including all of you, because if you weren't here, we wouldn't have one. So let's give you a hand right now. And also to Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman, our beloved senior minister, who brought us such wisdom today. And for Kate and Kev, who always bring us beautiful, beautiful musical wisdom. For Dylan McClintock, who dropped in from his many travels around the world to do meditation today. And to Cheryl Archer for doing a beautiful job hosting. Thank you. And as you know, as practitioners, one of the things we love to do, the things that we're trained to do, is to pray. So we're available immediately after service in the prayer center in the back of the room. And some practitioners offer longer services, spiritual coaching. Let me try that again. Spiritual coaching sessions. So you can check on the website. If you go to About Us, do the drop down, you'll find a page called Practitioners, and you can find everything you want there. And you can also request prayer through the Ministry of Prayer, either on the website or put a prayer in the prayer box at the back of the office. And so we ask you to leave immediately after service. Go out in the courtyard, greet everybody, go to the bookstore, greet Reverend Sunshine, who I believe is standing in the foyer, in the doorway. And then let's do our closing affirmation. Yeah, I thought the one on this page wasn't right. I am a catalyst for change in the world. And so it is.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest